Wait. What? Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. Now, all I really wanted to do today was just sit and chill and get excited about the game because it's the Club World Cup final tonight against PSG. And if you haven't seen them already, I've released a match preview on my own, which you should go and check out, or check out what I got up to yesterday, where I had the absolute pleasure of recording a full-length podcast previewing the match with none other than Red and Blue. He is a PSG YouTuber, but all of his content is in English. So if you're interested to see what me and him had to say about it, go and check out that video too. But aside from that, let's get into the absolute madness that I'm reading about this morning. So we'll start with the really crazy one, right? I've just seen an article from, I think it was the Daily Mail, so how reputable you think they are is whatever. But this article is saying that supposedly Christopher Nkunku, shadow striker, attacker extraordinaire, whatever, has been being tested in training as, wait for it, a centre defensive midfielder. Now, I know Maresca likes midfielders, man. You know, we're trying to turn all of our fullbacks into midfielders, but this is mad, isn't it? This is just a bit much. So the article basically says Maresca is interested in testing the idea if Christopher Nkunku can make a Joel Linton type switch to that centre midfield role. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this article might have some legs, and this is the main reason that I'm reacting to it. First and foremost, this has supposedly been seen in training, right? This isn't like sources say or whatever. Like, people are going and watching the Chelsea training sessions, and they are seeing Christopher Nkunku being tested out as a defensive midfielder. So that's a little bit different from, like I said, sources say or paper talk or whatever. Do you know what I mean? If it's actually someone that's at the training grounds, you know, you can see that kind of thing in person. The other thing, and it's still a very tentative link, right? Christopher Nkunku used to play CM for PSG way back when he was, like, you know, still a teenager, before he started hopping around Europe into all of his other teams and eventually finding his way as that shadow striker that scored all of those goals in the Red Bull Leipzig team. So it's not completely crazy to say it because he's done it before, sort of. But no, this is a madness, isn't it? If tonight's lineup comes out and Christopher Nkunku is in centre defensive midfield, I'm just going to leave. No, obviously I'm going to watch the game, but mate, that'd be some sort of slap in the face, wouldn't it? I know Maresca's really into turning everyone into a midfielder, you know, with Cucurella and Gusto and Reece James, and maybe that indicates that we're actually struggling to find suitors for Christopher Nkunku because he's felt like he's had one foot out of the door since January. At the same time we loaned João Felix to AC Milan, there was some talk about Bayern Munich coming in for him, and there's been more talk recently about Bayern Munich coming in for him. There's also been links with Manchester United, but they're obviously kind of skint. So I don't know. Now, it's weird because the purported amount I've seen is actually 35 mil. So if that's true, we're looking at making a loss on him, and you would have thought that's pretty affordable even for a Man U, for someone who's probably going to play quite well in their system. And Bayern Munich could definitely afford 35 mil for Christopher Nkunku if they really wanted him. Obviously, after his horrific injury in the PSG game in the Club World Cup, they are missing Musiala, so they will be in the market for some sort of attacking replacement. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just all mental at the moment. Silly season just used to be about transfers, but if this turns out to be true, if we see Christopher Nkunku line up as a centre defensive midfielder in our team at all, I'm probably just going to melt into a puddle of footballing confusion. Caicedo should be available for tonight's game. Enzo Fernandez should be available for tonight's game. Andre Santos is available. I'd much rather see Gusto in a midfield role than Christopher Nkunku at this point. So hopefully it's just like a training thing, right? You know, obviously they split into teams to play each other and stuff sometimes, don't they? And maybe because Asugo's been injured, maybe he's short of a midfielder or something. I don't know, man. I don't know. But if we're seriously looking to sell Christopher Nkunku, this seems like just a really weird thing to even try out, doesn't it? Oh yeah, whatever, man. Christopher Nkunku, CDM. Who knows? And we'll move out of one madness and into another one, though it is of a very different flavour. So, Noni Madueke is basically out the door. Supposedly as of yesterday, Chelsea had given him permission to go and do his medical with Arsenal. I don't know if that means that he's flown out or that's just saying, yes, you can go and do it. But a fee and personal terms have been agreed, so that looks like it's probably going to happen. Another name that I've been fairly certain that we're going to see going out the door is Nicolas Jackson too. So Nicolas Jackson, again, there's been a couple of links. Man United was one of them. I think there was clubs in Italy that might be interested in him. And there was some talk about Aston Villa being interested in him as well, which would be very interesting because we have some purported interest in Morgan Rogers. So it's never going to be a straight swap, is it? It'd be, we'll sell you our player, you sell us yours, and, you know, we'll figure out the finances. But there have been a myriad tentative links of Jackson going to other clubs. So this is where the madness comes in. As of yesterday, I've seen one report, no, not just one report, a couple of reports. Now, it's not The Athletic, it's not David Ornstein, El Fab, so, you know, we take all of this stuff with a grain of salt. But apparently, we have put 100 million price tag on Nicolas Jackson. 100 million pounds. 100 million pounds. You might as well just say, I don't want to sell him at this point. No one anywhere on the entire planet, not even a Saudi team, is going to pay 100 million pounds for Nicolas Jackson. That is a madness. I genuinely believe that we'll get more for him than we bought him for, right? We bought him for like 30, 35 mil. And although he's not quite reached that, 18, 20 goals a season you want from a top striker, he got 14 in his first season, and I think he got 10 in the last season, and that was with injury. Obviously, he was out for quite a long time. We were playing Pedro Neto there, so he probably would have finished in and around that same spot as well. But yeah, like, definitely not a bad striker. Do you know what I mean? Considering the fact that we've just bought João Pedro for 50 million plus, and he managed 10 goals last season, and 5 of those were penalties. So I feel like it'd be safe to assume we're looking at something similar to Noni Madueke money for Jackson, right? 50 to 60 mil, 70 an absolute push, and that would be us really getting one over on someone if we got 70 mil for him. But 55 to 60 mil, I think, feels reasonable in today's market for a striker as young and with Premier League experience and, that kind of amount of goals to his name as well. Maybe Arsenal aren't quite finished yet. Maybe the Gyökeres deal doesn't work out. Maybe they can come in and get him. But not for 100 mil. It's just madness. Absolute madness. The only way I'm justifying this to myself is, so with Madueke, when Arsenal put in their first bid of 50 mil, we went back to them and said, we want 65. And that ended up pushing it to 52 million. Maybe it's some outrageous negotiating tactic where someone comes in and says, I'll pay 50, and we say, we want 100, and then we end up getting 55, 60 mil for him just to squeeze out those few extra pennies, right? But I can't believe for a second that they're actually like looking at this and honestly saying, we want 100 mil for Nicolas Jackson. And you know what? Like I say, you might as well, if that's true, if 100 million is anywhere close, even 80, anything north of 70 is just like unfeasible, isn't it? No one's going to pay that amount of money unless the deal is very, very fairly structured and that's actually like 40 mil with like a boatload of add-ons or something. But nah, man, 100 mil for Jackson. No, don't get me wrong. I like Jackson. I'd actually be a bit sad to see him go. I'll be disappointed that we never gave him a chance to compete with someone. I think what we've basically done with Jackson is just giving him free reign in that number 9 spot for the last 2 seasons without bringing someone in that can seriously push him. Like, for instance, when he got injured, the only option we had was Mark Gue, and then he got injured, so we're playing Pedro Neto. And even when there's no injuries, Mark Gue being your only competition isn't exactly awe-inspiring or isn't exactly like, oh, I need to really stay on top of my game because this guy's going to come and take my spot. When we bought Liam Delap, I was very much like, right, wicked, because what you've got there is competition, and that'll be the first time that we've seen that with Jackson. And I think that could be really pivotal in his development, right? That could be exactly the tonic that he needed to stop wasting these chances and, start finding the back of the net a little bit more. But lo and behold, it is feeling likely that we are going to sell him because we just need to make money, don't we? Obviously, there's this UEFA stuff going on, as well as obviously wanting to strengthen the squad in other areas as well. We still need a backup left back. We're still talking about buying another centre back, and supposedly we are still also talking about buying another attacker. So we've made like 90 mil from the Club World Cup, which is wicked, by the way. Like, just to play a few Brazilian teams and Benfica and get 90 mil for that, that's close to what you get for getting quite far in the Champions League over an entire season. So it's not something you can rely on because the competition's only going to be every 4 years, but still, that's cool. But yeah, Noni Madueke going sort of was, I was less sure about Jackson going, and then when I saw Noni going, I was like, oh no, they are actually really up for selling these players because we need to make the cash. And I think, this is just part of the model, isn't it? I am starting to get this feeling that you are going to potentially get 2 seasons at Chelsea, and if you are not performing to the expected level, after that, you're out. Obviously, Blueco have only been with us for 3 years and we're just about to go into our 4th season. So there hasn't really been enough time to test that theory yet because they haven't been here long enough. But I'm starting to get the feeling that that's probably what it's going to look like. For instance, even if Cole Palmer went through the whole of next season and only scored 4 goals and got 2 assists and got loads of game time, I wouldn't be super surprised to see him potentially getting on that sell list at the end of the season either. You've only got to look at how many players we are buying and selling every single window by that one January, where basically no one bought and sold anyone because it was all PSR. But yeah, you've only got to look at how many players we are buying and selling almost every single window, especially every summer. There are always going to be casualties. I think this is just how it is at the moment. So yeah, based on that, I'm not going to be super surprised to see Nicolas Jackson go out the door, and I will wish him well. He's been one of our more successful strikers in recent memory, to be honest, and we didn't spend a huge chunk of change on him. So being that he's so young, we will also still get a bit of money for him. He helped us get to where we are. We're back in the Champions League, and we do need to start leveling up. So I don't know, is João Pedro and Liam Delap better than Jackson? Maybe that's a talk for another video. So will I be sad to see Jackson go? Yes. Do I think he's going to go for 100 million? No, absolutely not. So that's it, guys. Some absolute madness. Do you think we're going to see Christopher Nkunku play centre defensive midfield today? I absolutely hope not. Jackson for 100 mil, no chance. Tell me what you think about that in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content. I'm at 350 plus subs now. You guys are absolute legends. I'm loving it. Let's keep this train going. Nice one, guys. I hope you're having a wicked day. Enjoy the game tonight. I know I certainly will. Take it easy. Peace.